Hi, my name is Sumayyah Nuriddin-Green. I voice Bree in Disney Pixar's Inside Out 2. And you're watching Pop Culture with Pat. Be sure to like and subscribe.
Hey guys, welcome back to Pop Culture with Pat. So I am so excited to be joined by today's guests. Today we're going to be talking all things Inside Out 2 with Bree yourself, Sumayyah Nuriddin-Green. Thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Oh my gosh, thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
You are very welcome. Yeah, I mean, as you can tell, love the movie. I've seen it twice so far. Actually going to be seeing it a third time tonight. So absolutely love the film. And just a heads up, guys, we'll probably get into like some spoilers here. So if you haven't seen the movie, make sure you see it. If you haven't seen it, what are you doing? Go out and see it in theaters right now. But yeah, just to kind of to start things off for you, where did your love from movies kind of come from in the first place, and how did you get started in acting?
Yeah, great question. So I've always been like a really theatrical, dramatic kid. So even before I knew that I wanted to act, it was something that, I was just always doing. I was singing, I was dancing, creativity. It's just like always been in me. But I remember when I was about like 4 years old, maybe, my dad bought a projector and like a white screen. And we used to have movie nights at home all the time. So I think from a really young age, I had a pretty clear understanding of how movies could bring people together and just like the magic and the fun and the joy of it. And I think that definitely kind of like made a stamp in how much that I would love grow up to love movies, with all those family movie nights. And eventually I was like, I would love to be in one of these movies. But I think as I got older and I started actually doing acting, I was like, my love for it grew because I realized how important storytelling is and how powerful it was to be able to like convey a story or send this message to an audience. And it inspired me even more so to act. And the deeper understanding I've got for how incredible it is to be a storyteller made me even more passionate about wanting to do it.
And how and this was correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought I saw in like IMDb, like this is like your first like major project that you've done, right?
Yes, oh my gosh. First big credit, first project ever actually. And it's really cool that Inside Out 2 is my first project. Like I think I'm the luckiest girl in the world.
Yeah, I mean, I like just can't imagine of a better way to start off your career with having a film like this. I mean, people knew or kind of assumed that the film was going to do well, where the first one, connected with audiences and did really well. But I don't think people expected it to be on the level that it has been for the past couple weeks, just pretty much smashing records like day after day, week after week. So how's that kind of been for you?
I mean, it's insane. You got to remember I'm only like a teenager and just like seeing all of this stuff happening. It's pretty mind blowing. I swear every time that I open up Instagram or really even Google the internet, I feel like there's another article talking about how well it's doing. And it makes me so proud, to be honest, because like no bias, I swear the first movie was one of my favorites ever. I think I've rewatched it more times than anyone should ever watch any movie. But, to not only be a part of the second, but for it to do so well, it makes me so happy. I think it makes younger Sumaya even more happy. I'm so proud of it. I'm proud of everyone who worked on it, but it's crazy. I don't even think I can actually grasp like how well it's doing, but I'm super happy that it is because I think it deserves all the love that it's getting.
Yeah, oh no, for sure. Like I said, I mean, yeah, so I've seen it twice and it just the couple scenes that like really connected with me, and minus spoilers, guys. So just like again, if you haven't seen it, but the scene where Joy, where she's kind of battling with anxiety and she has that line, where she says, "You probably know exactly what I'm gonna say," but
I know exactly what you're
line
gonna say.
where maybe this is what happens when you get older, you have less joy. Even the second time seeing it just still hits so hard. And then Riley's panic attack scene, just the
Oh my
way
God.
that was crafted, just wasn't expecting that like at all. And
Me
seeing it
neither.
the first time in the theater, and it's like I'm even just like talking about it now, like almost getting a little emotional.
Mhm.
Just Yeah, such an incredible movie, and I think just like it'll be a really important film for audiences to be able to connect with, and something that you can watch. Little kids can watch. Some of the stuff they might not totally understand, right away, but it's something that they can come back and revisit, as they get older too, which I think is
Right.
beautiful.
That's beautiful. Yeah, it's a story for everyone. And like you said, like every time that I've seen it 3 times, I think so far, three, gonna be four pretty soon. But for me, every time that I've watched it, it's been a new story almost. And it becomes more and more like, wow, mind blowing. Every time that I've watched it, I notice something different or I take away a new lesson from it. But yeah, that scene, man, ripped me apart alive.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, crushed me, but in the best way possible because it really makes you realize a lot. It's like a therapy session every time you go in and you watch it, you know?
Yeah, that's when you know it's a good movie too, just when you connect to a film that, emotionally. The crazy thing is too, is like I know you've probably looked at some of the stuff, but from last I heard, they're projecting the film to hit $1 billion by the end of this weekend. So that's what it sounds like. Sounds like Sunday, Monday. So it'll officially sounds like going to join the $1 billion club, which it is insane. It's just, but it, like for me, just being like a film fan, just loving film like in general, and when you have a movie that you're just such a big fan of like this, it's so cool to pay attention to it and just kind of see all the little milestones that it hits along the way. Just to know that other people have connected with it as much as like as I have. So again, just congratulations to you. You play, Bree in the film. What was your audition process like for the movie, and just what was your reaction when you found out that you got cast as the role?
Right. So, it's just like a normal night. I got a email from my agent and it was like the casting for it. So we go, I don't know if you know how like a voiceover audition setup works, but usually you try to put yourself in like a room. A lot of people use their closet, so I used mine and we get in there. My dad sets up the mic. It's a very like homely setup, nothing fancy. And I recorded. I don't even think I knew what the project, like they didn't even title it. I did not know I was auditioning for Inside Out 2. So I do my thing. It's another audition, right? And a really fun fact, I almost completely forgot that I auditioned until my mom like came screaming, "You got to call back! You got to call back!" And I'm like, "No way!" And I think I didn't even realize it was for Inside Out 2 until I got on that call. They're like, "Oh, so great to have you, auditioning for Inside Out 2." And I was like, "What?"
Here, come
I
again?
auditioned for what? But the callback went great. And then eventually, maybe a couple weeks later, they call me into the studio in Emeryville because I'm located in the Bay Area, California. And they call me in. It's still kind of part of the audition process. I didn't officially have the role yet. I do some recording. And even that in itself was a learning process for me. I was like, even if I don't get this role, this has been a really cool experience, like going in to record for, my first voiceover. This is my first time ever doing anything
Yeah.
voiceover. I had no idea what I was doing. So for me, I was like, whatever happens, this was a really cool experience. But luckily, I did get the role. It wasn't actually that long after I went into the studio that I got a call from my agent, and she was like, "Girl, you got the role. You're gonna be Bree." And I think there's a video somewhere, probably my dad might have it, where I just didn't say anything. I was frozen.
Oh yeah.
Really? I
You're like,
couldn't
what?
get any words out. And I think I processed it like maybe that night. I was just screaming, realizing I got the role, and it was crazy. I couldn't believe it. I tell a lot of people that they're like, "Well, how does it feel being in this project? Like it's so crazy. It's huge too." And I couldn't really believe it until at the premiere when I watched the movie for the first time and heard my voice on that big screen. I was like, "Wow, this is my life. Like this really just happened."
This is actually real. I imagine it
Yeah.
probably took a little while for it to actually kind of like sink in for you. I know you said you had seen the original film prior to working on this, and you said it was like you've seen it a number of times. I was going to ask you just kind of like what was your relationship with that original movie prior to working on this? So seems like it was like one of your favorites.
Oh, absolutely. I think I was 7 or 8 when it came out. So literally forever ago. Yeah, literally
I
forever
believe that
ago.
it's the movie's almost it's like 9 years old, I think, as of like this
Mhm.
year. So it's almost like 10 years old, and I'm just like, God, that makes me feel old.
Oh yeah, no. So I'm not calling you old, but I
Oh, no, no.
definitely feel old too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was one of my favorites. I remember when it first came out, and oh my gosh, Ding Bong Dying was like the
Oh,
first time my young heart ever felt like heartbreak like that, you know? Most kids can't really grasp, feeling that sad about something, but it crushed me for a good long while. I think I've recovered mentally from that just about now. But I remember actually at some point, because I have a little sister, and I was talking about the movie, I think, to her, and she hadn't seen it. And I was like, you've never seen Inside Out. This was a while ago. She's cultured now. I've played it for her a number of times. But I was like, no way. Like, this was my movie. And it's funny because it was my favorite when I was younger. And then, I got a younger sister and I got to show it to her. And now we're both older. And I have two older brothers. They're fully adults. I'm a teenager and she's still well younger than Riley is now. But like, my siblings, we've all got to experience it and grow up with it.
that's so
And
cool.
yeah, it's been like a part of our whole childhood and now my brother's adulthood, and it's crazy. Like it's been a part of us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many possibilities for, for where they could go, like in the future too. Like if they're gonna do a little, because I mean, there's still a lot that they could explore as far as her being a teenager. So hopefully we get, because I know sometimes, like even though the film has done so well, like hopefully sometimes we get the announcement sooner rather than later. Uh,
Yes.
but as long as they take their time, make a great film, that's all obviously I truly care about at the end of
Right.
the day. But yeah, I mean, there's so many opportunities just with like the teenage years, going into college, adulthood, So it's like this could truly turn into like a big franchise, I think, with just like so many different options that you can explore.
No, yeah, I agree. Oh my gosh. And I'm all for it. I love that. I mean, we've already grown up with her this far. Why not keep it
Keep
going?
going for sure. And hopefully we have Bree and Grace, joining along for the ride.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
were there any experiences in your own life that you kind of tapped into when helping bring Bree to life for this film?
Definitely. And I think because when I started recording for Bree, I wasn't much older than the girls are in the film. I was only 15. I was only 15 when I started recording. And I remember coming in and Kelsey, our director, asking me my age. And he was like, wow, you're about the same age as the girls are now. And I was like, yep. So you can imagine that being in the booth recording, it was really like authentic experience because as I'm saying my lines and reading the script, I'm like, this is pretty accurate. And what's really cool is they let us make it even more real, which I didn't think was possible because I was like, you guys nailed the teenage experience here. But if anything felt like it would be more natural to say it another way. They were like, have at it, do this, say it. Like, how would you react as a teenage girl if one of your friends said this to you or did this to you? And I think, at that time, I was experiencing a lot of the same emotions that Riley was, and even Bree and Grace, and all the teenagers were in the film. And it was really easy to tap into those emotions, not only because I was around that same age, but also I feel like Bree and I are one and the same. I remember reading the character description when I was first auditioning for it, and my parents were like, "Wow, this is you on paper." Just like
It was
from
meant to be.
personality. Oh yeah, I was just like, okay, so I'm playing myself, which is always great. And it's even better because once I got in the booth, they continue to let me be myself and bring myself to Bree and even into just like the entire friendship dynamic. Once I got to work with the girls, like it was a really authentic experience.
That's really cool too that they were just like so collaborative and let you guys kind of just do your thing. Like they had the script, but obviously, like you said, if there was any room for like improvisation, that they let you guys kind of do that to kind of add to that authenticity because it's super important. And I mean, and it shows in a film like this. So that's really cool that they did that. How is playing Bree? How has that kind of affected how you're able to manage, your own emotions? Has it given you a new perspective on anything?
Yeah, I mean, when I went in, because like I said, I did when I saw myself in Brie, I was like, okay, this is gonna be a really fun character for me to play with. But it was crazy because being a teenager at that time and playing that role, every teenager in the history of teenagers has always felt like they're alone and they're the only person in the world with their problems. You know, it's of course we're dramatic. It's part of the teenage experience. You guys
Oh
get to
yeah.
see the film, you know, but it was really validating, you know, playing Bree and not only playing Bree, but even just seeing Riley and Grace and these real teenage girls. It made me realize I'm not the only one. And sometimes teenagers, everyone thinks we always like need these big solutions to solve our dramatic problems, but sometimes feeling seen is enough and just being validated that even when you are sad and anxious, that in itself is a solution and it does make you feel a lot better. And for me, this project really did it for me. I think Kensington even spoke on just like how playing Riley, you know, it validated her a lot.
Yep.
And that's so real. Playing this role just really showed me that like everyone's going through it. And that made me feel so safe. And not just teenagers either, that adults still have these thoughts, right? And,
Yep.
you know, they've experienced it. Everyone's been a teenager before, right?
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. It's like everyone, even if they're not necessarily, a teenager like anymore when they're watching this movie, everyone's been there or, going into those years, at some point. So it's just, yeah, like you said, just to be seen and feel like you are heard, I think goes a long way, sometimes as well. Yeah, you were talking about, just with, working with Kensington and Grace. So I know sometimes, working on voiceover projects, like you guys don't always necessarily get to work with each other a lot on the films. Did you get to work with each other a lot here, or was it kind of separate recording booths? And what was it just like bringing that friendship dynamic, to life with those, girls on this film?
Mhm. So the first couple recording sessions that I did and we all did were alone. And I did not know that I would ever actually get to work with them. So, you know, I did my recording sessions by myself, got some lines out. And Kelsey's really great because even though I didn't have Kensington and Grace there with me yet, he was just amazing at pulling out the lines and getting the best takes from us and doing all that. He did his job amazing, perfectly. But I will say, like, being there with them is something that you can't really replicate by yourself on your own, right? So when we finally met up, they flew us out to Burbank, the Burbank location. And when we finally met up, it was our first time meeting. We had like 5 or 10 minutes to get to know each other. And then we went straight to work. And that can be really scary because you don't know what's going to happen when you get into that studio.
Yeah.
But we clicked immediately when we were working. And I think we all felt this relief because we're like, wow, it's so much easier to do this because it was almost like we were just there having a conversation, being teenagers. And then we were reminded when Kelsey called cut, you know, that we were actually working and it's a work day. But it was really fun because we're saying these lines and we're playing around with each other and we're having fun. And it's cool because I think we're all a lot like our characters in real life. You know, Grace is so funny, so energetic. Kensington is just the best, the sweetest, the kindest person ever. And, you know, I think that's literally Bree, Grace, and Riley. So in real life, we were having this just like moment with each other. And I think it read, in my opinion, so well in the final product and on screen. Like you really see the girls having fun with each other. And that's what it was like in the studio. And I'm just really happy that, you know, we all clicked and had this great energy when we came to work. And they're the best to work with.
Oh yeah, I mean, the chemistry definitely comes across, on screen, and it's like it's almost like you guys have been, friends for years. It sounded like, you got in there, had a couple minutes, and just that was it. Now, do you guys have like a group chat where you guys like kind of talk back and forth, like now that the film has been out?
Yes. Oh my gosh. We made the group chat actually the first day that we met, the first day that we started recording. And just from then up until now and before the premiere and until it came out and till this day, we've been texting back and forth like, oh my gosh, it's crazy. Like, do you guys see how well it's doing? I'm so happy for us. I'm so proud of us. I remember when we could all finally announce that we were in the movie and post about it. We were like, oh my gosh, what are you saying? No, what are you saying? Or what's your Instagram caption? Or, oh my gosh. And then the day before the premiere, we were talking about how excited we were or how we wanted to see each other's outfits and we couldn't wait to, you know, reunite because it's been a minute since we finished recording till we got to see each other again. So it's
Yeah.
pretty active, you know.
Yeah, these projects, I mean, they take a while to put together. Just you have like all the voice, going into it, but then also the animation that, that takes a while. So it's like, yeah, it's definitely takes a while to put everything all together. But that was also so like obviously your first project, but this it was your first like premiere that you went to first, like red carpet and stuff, I imagine. So what was that kind of like all like for you?
It was nerve-wracking because it's like being on a completely different planet. I've never done anything remotely close to it. So up until I got there, I had no idea what to expect. You see like people post about premieres, but it still doesn't really give you any idea what it's going to be like. I will say it was a lot less scary than I thought it'd be. Everyone
That's
there
good.
was really cool, really nice. Being there with Grace and Kensington made it, so much better and made me feel a lot more relaxed. Grace and I got to do a lot of interviews together, which is really cool because it was my first time doing interviews and it just felt great to be there with a friend. It made me a lot more comfortable, but it was a blast. Core memory, hands down, best day of my life so far.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, I'm sure that probably definitely helped, like where you guys had connected before, and at least having a couple people that you knew. I mean, like obviously you knew the director as well and some of the other cast, but getting to hang out with them, I'm sure that kind of put you at ease, a little bit. Who is your favorite emotion or character like in the film, like overall, and why are they your favorite outside of Brie, obviously?
Yes, okay. Outside of Bree, my favorite, and this has been my favorite since I first saw the movie, Disgust.
Disgust.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I love Disgust. Obviously, I am a huge fan of all the emotions, and like Inside Out teaches us, they're all good for us.
Yep.
But, I was a child that Disgust was probably driving a lot. I was one of those like brutally honest kids. My parents were like, okay, Suma, you have to have a bit of a filter, but I didn't like vegetables. So we know that she was running my headquarters a lot.
Yep.
But I think it's great that she's portrayed in a way that it shows disgust and obviously the other emotions too, but that disgust is working for you too, and she's good for you because, I think a lot of time children, because, they haven't been trained to, I don't know how to put it, but children, they're gonna be discussed about a lot of things. They're curious.
Yeah.
They have a lot of emotions and feelings. And I love that they portrayed her in such a positive way because, she was running little Sumayyah up in the headquarters a lot. But other than her, joy, joy.
Joy.
We're locked in like this.
The another scene from Joy too, which I've seen it pop up on like Instagram and stuff like that, that just cracks me up because of the reaction and the way I've seen people do edits for it too, is the scene where Anger calls her delusional.
Again, she turns around like,
Yeah, she just has that like head tilt around and like I saw someone put some like really dramatic music to it and it was
I
just
saw
like
that one.
and then she's like delusional and I'm just like cracking up. First time I watched it and every time I've seen that scene. But I love Disgust.
So funny.
Her
Yeah.
sassiness that she has to like her character, I think is so funny.
Oh yeah, and I love her dynamic with the rest of the emotions too. She's so funny.
And it was cool too that we got to, jump into some of the other characters' heads, in the film and kind of see your guys, own, emotions and how they were reacting to everything and seeing Disgust like in Bree.
Mhm.
Um,
I
I-
love that Disgust is the person that analyzes, all the facial expressions and, the looks. I was
yeah,
like, oh, that was so well done. Like that's so real.
so good. Yeah, I thought Disgust is definitely. I mean, yeah, it's so hard to honestly pick because you love all of them. Um, yeah, it's like I mean, like obviously, like I really enjoyed like Anxiety, but it's like the whole gang. They just do such a good job of bringing, each one of them kind of gets their own moment to shine throughout both the first movie and the second film. So you really can't go wrong, I think, with them. What was like some of your favorite things to see play out from when you were maybe, recording and then or even just like reading it in the script to seeing it finally done and all the animation completed afterwards.
Mhm. Well, I mean, the story in general, like you're in there, you're saying the lines, but when you get the full experience with the visuals, it's like completely different than you could ever imagine, and definitely for the better. Like it was an incredible story, so well told, in my opinion. But especially the dynamic between the girls and just how that played out. And I think just like the evolution of, them being these great friends and then them running into like this conflict, which it was obviously so sad to see them, spoilers, like, be a little bit upset with each other or sad with each other, and then seeing them forgive each other. But just seeing that dynamic, and how it was portrayed, I love seeing that come together because as I was saying these lines, I keep saying this, but it was so real and so authentic. And I think every teenager or every kid, and even maybe in adult friendships, I don't know how those work. I'm not there yet, but I know that, friendships have these run-ins, and just seeing how that was portrayed, I think was so beautifully told. And they did a great job. But when I was really watching the story and seeing the girls, like I felt like I was on that journey with them. And I
Yeah,
think it's together so well. And I loved seeing that brought to the screen.
because when you were like recording too, when you initially got the script, did you only really kind of get the sections where Bree was in it? Like you didn't necessarily get the full thing, so you probably didn't really see the whole thing come together until you saw the film for the first time, right?
Yeah. Essentially, it's so funny because when I could finally announce that I was in this movie, everyone was like, spoilers, spoilers, like tell us. I was like, I couldn't if I wanted to. I
Yeah.
genuinely do not know what this movie is about. Like, I
Yeah.
know my lines, that's it. I'm not even going to spoil that for you. But when I finally saw it, I was like, wow, this was a completely different story than I could ever imagine. And I love that because it blew me away. But yeah, I only got the scenes that Bree was in and, the couple lines before, the couple lines after, just so I could kind of get a grasp on how I wanted to say these lines and make sure that they fit in well with the scene.
Yeah.
So it's all the scenes with the girls in it, but just seeing like the before and after, the aftermath of it that I didn't see in the next scene, I was like, oh wow, like I could never have imagined that. And
Yeah, you
yeah.
almost got to see it as like an audience member because even though you worked on the project and like you said, you got that context for some of those scenes to just to kind of see
Mhm.
it all put together is just like a whole different experience. Because yeah, I've talked to like previous like voice actors in the past, and I feel to a degree it might even be like that for just like regular actors as well. But just getting kind of those the scripts for just like the specific moments that your characters are in, and I'm sure they do that to kind of keep things under wrap as well. But yeah, that's awesome that you kind of got to experience it all for that first time.
Yeah,
Um,
I definitely did. It was I was just watching, it was literally just me. I felt like watching the sequel to my favorite movie. So I didn't even know what to expect, but yeah.
and when you reflect, just kind of looking back on, working on like Inside Out 2, like overall, just what are some of your favorite memories? I know you've talked about, working with the girls, the director Kelsey. What are just some of your other like favorite memories that come to mind when working on this film?
Yeah, there's a couple like main ones. I think first, obviously, being cast for the role, not only because it was my first project, but I couldn't have imagined a better first project to be a part of. Like, it was something that I could say, like, I actually had a connection to. It wasn't this like random film, that I was lucky to be cast in. It was this film that I grew up with. It was a part of me. It was a story that I knew that I actually wanted to tell because I think that's really important as an artist to be in stories that you're passionate about and you want to tell. And I think this story is one that I was like, no, I'm really passionate about this. And I think I was very lucky to be able to have my first project be about something that I stand for. So being cast was definitely a moment that stood out. My first day in the recording booth,
Yep.
I mean, that was a moment that stood out. And then my first time meeting up with the girls, such a great day. Never gonna forget that. It feels like it was yesterday. And then the premiere, I mean, that was just the coolest thing ever. I got to meet so many people that I looked up to. And not only did I meet them, but I'm realizing I was in the same project as them. So that was really cool. But I think maybe it didn't exactly happen during the making of the movie,
Yep.
but one really like cool moment was when I got home from the premiere and I came back from LA. I had invited a bunch of my friends and family to come see it in just a regular movie theater with me. And oh my gosh, literally made me cry seeing so many people that have supported me on my journey or just know me and grown up with me, and all these people that are so close to my heart hear my voice on screen, and making them proud was like the coolest part of this all, right?
Yeah.
uh, Letting them have the reaction to not only my part in this movie, but this movie in general, and them getting to hear my voice, them getting to see this story, them getting to hopefully feel represented by everything that's going on in this film. That to me was just like the coolest part of this all. Making my community and my friends and family proud was
That,
probably the best part for me.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you at all. So you guys like almost did you have like your own like private theater? Like did you rent out like a theater
Yeah,
to
we didn't even rent it out. I was just like, okay, guys, like let's all buy it for this date. So we all got our tickets for that day. And it was funny because all in all, there were probably like three people in that theater that didn't know me. And they would like turn to my friends and finding out and be like, someone like in this movie, in this theater right now with us? And they're like, yeah, that's our friend.
You're like, yep, she's right over there. That I mean
Right over there, actually. Hey.
that's really that's awesome just to kind of have that experience and yeah, like we were talking about, I mean, it doesn't get much better, I feel like to start off like a career with a film like this. So I mean, just congratulations again on the movie.
Thank
I'm
you.
sure you're probably still like kind of just still absorbing, everything, but just yeah, just make sure to kind of take everything in because it's like it's a, not I'm sure you'll go on to do like other like great projects like as well, but it's like projects like these are just so special. So just yeah, just make sure to really take the time and enjoy it.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, it is crazy because I feel like I finally, processed that I was in this movie. And then when I got to process that I was in this movie, I had to process that my voice would be heard on screens like all over. And then when I finally processed that, I'm seeing that it's the number one movie in the world. And now I have to process that. And I feel like every time that I come to like accepting something, there's another layer. But that's really cool to me, that's a great
Yeah.
struggle to have.
Yep. Yeah. And I mean, and it's cool. I was so happy too that I saw that they decided to do a 100-day theatrical run for the film. And I'm hoping that this is, a lesson to a lot of, theater, companies out there. Cause don't get me wrong. I love, streaming. It's great. But like when you have movies like this, make sure they get that theatrical experience. They get the runtime to be out there for audiences to experience them on the big screen. Um, because I mean, this is a really good example of what happens if you let that, do that and don't necessarily just put them to streaming like 2 or 3 weeks after the movie comes out.
Yeah, that's a great point. Like you said, all for streaming, love it. I definitely do enough of it. But I think there's just like an energy that, can't be replaced by going to the theater,
Yep.
seeing certain story. I feel like certain movies you just have to see at least once at the movie theater. And this is definitely one of them. Like to get that full experience,
Yep.
this is one of them. And I'm so glad that so many people are going to see it.
For sure. Yeah, no, it's I'm all about the theatrical experience for sure. And yeah, I mean, we kind of talked about this that just, I think that the film it's going to be such a great conversation starter for families, but even just like, individuals, getting to see the movie and connect with it.
Mhm.
What does it kind of mean to you to be a part of a film that and like you've seen all the responses that has connected with people so deeply on so many levels? What does that kind of just, mean to you like overall?
I mean, it means the world. It's crazy because I'm getting a lot of DMs from either my friends, or friends with my friends, or sometimes people that I don't even know at all saying like how much the movie touched them. And it makes me really happy because I'm like, wow, it's doing its job,
Yeah.
right? But it's really great because a lot of people are using this movie as a way to teach their child or show them or educate them on emotions and the importance of them, and how they're all normal, we all go through them. And I'm glad that a lot of parents are taking this as an educational opportunity. But I think it's also really great because kids can see this movie and kind of point out to their parents, this is how I feel, this is how I relate. So it's
Yeah.
really being used as a conversation starter, and it can be used from both ends because they put it in a way that explains anxiety and all the emotions so clearly and so vividly. So whether, this is your first time learning about it from like a young age, maybe you're 3 or 5, or you're an adult or you're a teenager, you get to point these things out and be like, yeah, this is how I feel, or this is how you might feel, and if you ever do, it's okay. And I love a good story, but I love a good story that also is educational, and it starts conversations, and meaningful and deep ones. Like, it's one of those movies where you go and you see it, and then the movie was great, but it's even greater having the conversation about it on the car ride home.
Yeah.
And it's one of those.
Yeah, those are some of my favorite films when you can go watch a movie, watch it multiple times, and just take, different things, even if it's just one small little thing, but take something different away from it, your second,
Mhm.
your third viewing, and just continue to get something new like each time. And like you said, I love having conversations, like whenever like me and some of my buddies, we go watch a movie and just having that conversation afterwards. And
Mhm.
this is definitely a movie that's done that with so many people. Is there anything, just to kind of to wrap things up for you, is there anything else that you would like to say, about the film, and then just what is next for you, and where can people keep up to date with all your projects going forward?
Okay, well, yeah, I just want to say go see Inside Out 2. It's for everyone, it's for you, it's for your friends, it's for your family, all ages. It's a great movie. Even if I wasn't in it, I would be telling you this. Go see this movie. It's an amazing story. I think it's one that everyone needs to hear and see and experience. And I hope you love all of the characters. I hope you love Bree. And I hope you love the movie because it's great. It's really beautiful. And I'm so proud of it. I'm so proud of everyone on the team. And if you want to keep up with me, you can follow me at All About Sumayyah on Instagram and see what's next for me from there. I'd love it if you could follow my journey. But yeah, and thank you so much for having me. It's been great to talk about this.
Oh, it's been an honor, Samaya. Thank you again so much for coming on the channel and talking about it. Like I said, it's one of my, if not, I think it might be like my favorite film of the year, so far. So just being a film nerd and loving all the behind the scenes kind of stuff, I love, having these conversations. So thank you for your time, and I can't wait to see what's next for you. And I'll make sure to put your the link for like your Instagram and stuff like down below in the description.
Thanks. Hi, my name is Sumayyah Nuriddin-Green. I voice Bree in Disney Pixar's Inside Out 2. And you're watching Pop Culture with Pat. Be sure to like and subscribe.